Welcome back to 5 Minutes in the Word with Redeemed Girl Ministries, and I'm Marian Jordan Ellis, and I have a very serious question. Has anyone besides me ever had a full-blown meltdown? And what I mean by full-blown meltdown is the ugly cry, the whole 9 yards, and you've gone literally to the crazy place where your emotions are out of control and you cannot get your feet on solid ground. Well, I lived there for a long time in my life because, I'd gone through a really difficult season, and despite the fact that I was a Bible teacher and despite the fact that I knew all of this information, I was not choosing in that season to trust and hope in God. And because of that, my emotions were just up and down. I was completely just led by fear, anxiety, all of these things. And in the midst of that, God's word became so real to me. God's word became my lifeline. And this verse that we're going to look at today is one of the most pivotal verses in my journey with God, because it really transformed how I really experienced life, how I really experienced trials and suffering. I began to understand that it's not just enough to know information about God. We've actually kind of have to exercise our faith and put our hope in Him in the moments that we are tested. Well, today in our study of the attributes of God, or my God is, we're looking at the fact that my God is faithful. Now, the word faithful means keeps His promises. The word faithful means a rock, security, steadfast, trustworthy. Now, the verse that we're going to look at is from Lamentations chapter 3. If you have our cards, you're following along with this. Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 through 23, which says, "The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is His faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh every morning." Now, if you've been with us before, you know that if we're going to dive into a verse, we're going to look at it in its full context and then look at what does this verse mean, and then really what does it mean for my life today. First of all, the context of this verse is the book of Lamentations, which was written by the prophet Jeremiah to God's people who have been taken captive and they've been deported out of Israel and Judah into Babylon. They are once again in slavery because of their own sin and because of their own rebellion against God. Now, Jeremiah the prophet is weeping, and he is just in turmoil over what's become of this nation. He's looking at his surroundings and at his circumstances, and it seems as if everything's lost. Now, in that moment of surveying his surroundings, the people have gone into captivity. They are not in their homeland. The nation, the city of Jerusalem's been destroyed. The temple has been sacked. His hope, his whole emotion, it's gone down the tank. He's gone to the crazy place. But in that moment, here's what he does. He goes, "This I recall to mind. Therefore I have hope. Great is His faithfulness." So in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the disappointment, in the midst of the storm, he doesn't allow his emotions to take him to the crazy place. He reminds himself, he says, "This I call to mind, therefore I have hope." What's his hope built on? Great is His faithfulness. Now, that word faithful, as we said, it's our foundation. That was the rock that Jeremiah could stand on, the faithfulness of God. What that means is the same God who made a covenant with that nation that said that He would keep His promises, that even when they rebelled, even when they ran far from Him, He would not stop His love towards them, that He would bring them back into that homeland. In that moment, Jeremiah chose to believe God, and as a result, he had hope. That's what happens for us. Even though our circumstances can seem bleak, we can say, "Great is His faithfulness. His mercy is new every morning." And my day and my life is not dependent on what my eyes can see, but on the God who is my rock, who is my defender, and who has made a promise to me that He will never leave me nor forsake me, and nothing can separate us from His love. I hope as you meditate on the fact that God is faithful, that God will keep His promise, that God keeps His word, that even when we fail or people fail, He will never fail us. I pray that that restores hope to your heart.